Chapter 45-24. The Undying Demon King was puzzled. Sort of. What did that mean? Did he reach it or not? In 1,000 years, he broke through to the Divine Emperor realm from the Divine Lord realm. This is unbelievable. Could it be that Lu Ming did not break through to the Divine Emperor realm and was just bluffing? But his aura is unfathomable. Even I can't see through it. Could it be fake? Could it be that he has cultivated some kind of secret technique that can change his aura? That's why I can't see through it. The unkillable Demon King stared at Lu Ming, pondering constantly in his heart. Undying Demon King, why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face? Lu Ming said indifferently. Haha, you're really a young hero. Lu Ming, I knew that you're not an ordinary person. You've reached the Divine Emperor realm in such a short time. Coincidentally, my cultivation has also recovered to the Divine Emperor realm. Why don't we have a fight? The Undying Demon King laughed and stood up. His body was surrounded by demonic light and his aura was imposing. Since he couldn't figure out Lu Ming's cultivation, he might as well try to see what Lu Ming's cultivation was. Anyway, it was just a fight. If Lu Ming really reached the Divine Emperor realm, he would still have room to retreat. Undying Demon King, do you really want to have a fight with me? Lu Ming said indifferently. He glanced at the Undying Demon King and a ray of light flashed in his eyes. A faint killing intent flashed in his eyes. At this moment, the Undying Demon King's body suddenly stiffened. His muscles trembled involuntarily and his skin broke out in cold sweat. A chill ran from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have become an incomparably terrifying beast in his eyes and he seemed to have become an ant. The ferocious beast was glaring at him like a tiger eyeing its prey, as if it could blow him to death with a casual breath. Terrifying, 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 undefeatable, undefeatable, undefeatable. The Undying Demon King roared in his heart. His face was covered in cold sweat. He had a feeling that he was nothing more than an ant in front of Lu Ming. If Lu Ming wanted to kill him, he could do it with just a thought. In his heart, he was deeply shocked, incomparably shocked, and incomparably incredulous. Lu Ming's killing intent was only directed at the Undying Demon King. The others didn't feel it, and it only lasted for a moment before it was withdrawn. Plop! The Undying Demon King felt his legs go soft. He couldn't even stand properly and sat down on the chair. He found that his whole body was drenched in cold sweat. He's definitely a cultivator of the godly Emperor layer. He's not just a cultivator of the first godly Emperor layer, he's probably already a cultivator of the third godly Emperor layer. How did he practice cultivation? It's too terrifying. Undying Demon King roared in his heart. He was sure that Lu Ming had broken through to the godly Emperor layer and was much stronger than him. He had probably broken through to the third godly Emperor layer. He was incomparably shocked. This cultivation speed was too terrifying. Undying Demon King, didn't you want to spar? Why are you sitting down? Lu Ming said indifferently. Ha ha ha, I was joking, No, I was just joking. Don't be impulsive, young man, don't be impulsive. The Undying Demon King laughed guiltily, but his smile was uglier than crying. Blue Merchant, Holy Heavenly King, Yi Tian, Kong Shishue, Jingmo and the others looked at Lu Ming and the Undying Demon King suspiciously and astonishingly. They knew the Undying Demon King very well. He was an extremely overbearing and meticulous person. He had just proposed to spar with Lu Ming, so he wouldn't cancel it for no reason. Besides, he was covered in cold sweat and looked like he was about to die. Was he afraid of Lu Ming? Lu Ming was shocked. How powerful was Lu Ming now that he could make the unkillable Demon King, the old demon, so afraid of him without batting an eyelid? They were imagining things. Lu Ming, you're going to stay for a while this time, right? Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King asked after a long while. No, I'll be leaving soon. The main reason I came back this time is to take my parents away from here and cultivate elsewhere. Lu Ming said. Cultivate somewhere else? Is it a higher level place with a better cultivation environment? Blue Merchant and Holy Heavenly King asked quickly. Yes, if you're willing, you can come with me. Lu Ming said. As far as I know, places with better cultivation environments are usually occupied by powerful forces of the universe. It's very dangerous for powerful races to occupy a place. The undying demon king said. He was a divine emperor and had gone out to explore in the past. He knew a little about the outside world. Don't worry, I've got a firm foothold now. There won't be any danger. Moreover, the cultivation environment there is 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty, Lu Ming said. What? The cultivation environment there is 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty? The undying demon king, holy heavenly king, blue merchant and the others all widened their eyes in shock. 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty. What kind of cultivation environment is that? At the same time, they were very tempted. For example, the undying demon king, holy heavenly king, Tian and blue merchant's cultivation had reached a bottleneck. It was too difficult for them to break through. Blue merchant was better. He still had potential. With the soul cultivating crystal, he might be able to break through to the divine emperor realm in the future. However, it was almost impossible for the undying demon king, holy heavenly king and Tian to break through. But they didn't have the courage to leave and go to a more advanced place. If what Lu Ming said was true, that the cultivation environment there was 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty, they really had a chance to break through the bottleneck and take another step forward. Especially holy heavenly king and Tian, who were both at the quasi-emperor realm. If they were one step closer to the divine emperor realm, their lifespan would skyrocket. Lu Ming, I'll go with you. Anyway, I'm old and don't have much time left. It's good to go with you. Holy heavenly king was the first to speak. Lan Shong and Tian were hesitant. They were the Grand Master of the Taishu dynasty and the commander of the Taishu dynasty's army. They were in a high position and were reluctant to give up. In addition, Jingmo and Kong Shishue didn't speak. The two of them definitely wouldn't leave. If they left, wouldn't the Taishu dynasty be handed over to others? Lu Ming, I'll go with you too. The undying demon king thought for a moment and gritted his teeth. All right. Lu Ming nodded. His eyes fell on Blue Merchant and Tian. He said, Are you willing to go with me? I won't force you, but I can guarantee that if you go with me, breaking through to the divine emperor realm won't be a problem. When Lu Ming spoke, he revealed strong confidence as if there would be no problem. This made Tian and Blue Merchant excited. All right, I'll go with you. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming, I'll go with you too. A cultivator should focus on cultivation. I was almost delayed by mundane matters. Tian nodded. Chapter 45-25. The temptation of breaking through to the divine emperor realm was too great. In the end, Blue Merchant and Tian decided to give up their power and follow Lu Ming. That hidden dragon heavenly king, Kong Shishue opened her mouth, looking like she wanted to say something but hesitated. Are you afraid that if Lan Shu and the others follow me, the Taishu dynasty will be empty without any experts? Lu Ming smiled and saw through Kong Shishue's thoughts. Kong Shishue and Jingmo nodded repeatedly. In the Taishu Holy Dynasty, the barbarian tribe, and the Qiani Holy Dynasty, the quasi-emperors were the most powerful cultivators. They were the cornerstones of a country. Now, there were too few cultivators in the Taishu Holy Dynasty. There was only Blue Merchant, Tian, Holy Old Heavenly King, and the Undying Demon Lord. Although 1,000 years had passed, there was still no new quasi-emperor in the Taishu dynasty. Once these people left with Lu Ming, the strength of the Taishu dynasty would weaken rapidly. In the future, it would be annexed by the barbarian tribe and the Qiani sacred dynasty. Therefore, Jingmo and Kong Shishue were very worried. Don't worry, I have my own plans for this matter, Lu Ming said. With a wave of his hand, 8 wild beasts appeared in the hall. To be precise, 8 wild beast puppets. These 8 puppets have the cultivation of quasi-emperors. They are not afraid of death and are invulnerable. They will be placed in the Taishu dynasty to protect the country's fate and ensure the safety of the Taishu dynasty. Lu Ming said. What? 8 quasi-emperor level puppets? Kong Shishue and Jingmo were shocked and then overjoyed. Holy Old Heavenly King and the others could not calm down. This was really a big move. 8 quasi-emperor level puppets were sent out in one go. These puppets were extremely precious. In the history of the Taishu dynasty, there had never been such high-level puppets. Not to mention 8, even one of them was invaluable. Lu Ming gave 8 of them to Jingmo and Kong Shishue. If this was not a big deal, what was? Lu Ming became more and more unfathomable in the hearts of the people. Thank you, Hidden Dragon Heavenly King. Jingmo and Kong Shishue quickly got up to thank him. Lu Ming smiled slightly. In fact, there were many such gadgets. He had lost count of how many enemies he had killed and how many rings of holding he had obtained. There were all sorts of things in these storage rings, and there were even more of these puppets. Lu Ming could even take out quite a number of Godthich realm puppets, let alone quasi-emperor puppets. However, these things were useless to Lu Ming now. Of course, Lu Ming would not give them puppets that were too powerful. For example, he would give them divine emperor puppets. Kong Shishue and Jingmo's ambitions might soar and they might invade other forces. In the end, they would attract the jealousy of more powerful forces and bring about a fatal disaster. Jingmo was very likely to be Jing Yu's son. Lu Ming naturally did not want anything to happen to them. 8 quasi-emperor level puppets were enough to ensure the stability of the Taishu dynasty. This jade talisman has the method to control the puppets. Lu Ming handed a jade talisman to Kong Shishue. Kong Shishue and Jingmo naturally thanked him. Hidden Dragon Heavenly King, can we send some young people to cultivate with you? Kong Shishue asked tentatively. Lu Ming smiled in his heart. Kong Shishue wanted to cultivate her own forces. However, Lu Ming did not care. The Taishu dynasty was too small. Lu Ming was not interested in it at all. He immediately nodded and said, "Of course. Thank you, Hidden Dragon Heavenly King. Come, let me toast you." Kong Shishue was overjoyed. She raised her cup and drank it in one gulp. Then, everyone drank and chatted. The atmosphere was harmonious, especially the undying demon lord. He seemed to have forgotten the unpleasant things that had happened before. After 3 rounds of drinking, Lu Ming got up and said goodbye. "Everyone, please get ready. I'll go back to the Hidden Dragon Palace and pick you up later," Lu Ming said. Then, he stepped into the air and left. "Lu Ming, let me see you off," Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming nodded. He knew that Blue Merchant had something to say to him in private. Soon, the two of them left the Taishu Saint capital and stood in the starry sky. "Lan Shu, I have something to ask you too. Is Lan Ling doing well? Why don't I see her in the Taishu Saint capital?" Lu Ming asked. When he mentioned Lan Ling, he could not help but feel guilty. "I was about to tell you about Ling Er. She's no longer in the Taishu dynasty," Blue Merchant said. "She's no longer in the Taishu dynasty? Where did she go?" Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. "About 200 years after you left, she also left. She said that she wanted to go out to train and improve her cultivation. I don't know where exactly she went. Actually, she's very stubborn. When she decided to leave, even I, as her father, could not stop her. I could only let her go. I wonder how she is now." Sigh. Blue Merchant sighed deeply as he spoke. He suddenly felt that his decision back then was wrong. Back then, he wanted to match Lu Ming and Lan Ling. However, Lu Ming's talent was too high. When his cultivation increased, it was like a hot knife cutting through butter. Now, it was even more unfathomable. To put it bluntly, Lan Ling and Lu Ming were not on the same path. The difference in talent was too great. They were not compatible at all. If he had not tried to match Lu Ming and Lan Ling back then, this would not have happened. "Lan Shu, I'm sorry. Lu Ming was full of apologies. He recalled the scene of him bidding farewell to Lan Ling before he left. At that time, Lan Ling stubbornly said that she would catch up to Lu Ming's cultivation. She would definitely catch up to Lu Ming's cultivation. Back then, Lu Ming said that he would wait for her to catch up. Perhaps, it was because of these words that Lan Ling went out to explore. She was really a stubborn girl, just like Mulin's back then. "Lu Ming, you don't have to apologize. Marriage is a matter of mutual love. I was muddle-headed back then." Blue Merchant smiled. Lu Ming was speechless because he really did not know what to say. Sigh, now, I just hope that Linger can be safe. Blue Merchant sighed. The primitive universe was vast and boundless. There were as many universe-level forces as there were hairs on an ox. It was very dangerous to wander in the universe. He only hoped that Lan Ling could be safe. Lan Shu, don't worry. Lan Ling is a good person. She should be fine. When she succeeds in her cultivation, we will meet again in the future. Lu Ming comforted. I hope so. Okay, I will go back and prepare. You should go and see your parents. Blue Merchant said and then went to the Taishu sacred capital. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. He then stepped into the air and headed toward the Heavenly King mansion. Just as Lu Ming left the Taishu sacred capital, the Wu people's ancestral planet welcomed two groups of guests. Everyone in the Wu people, including the ancestral patriarch who had been in seclusion, came out to welcome the guests outside the ancestral planet. These two groups of guests were from the 10 most powerful races, the angel race and the blood race. Did you really find out where Lu Ming's family is? An overlord of the angel race stepped out. His body was enveloped in a pure white light and his energy was so violent that the sky shook. This was a divine Lord Overlord. Chapter 45-26. Feeling the powerful aura of the angel tribe, the people of the sorcerer tribe trembled in fear. Although the witch race was one of the top races in the universe, it was still a far cry from the angel race, one of the top 10 races. There were only 2 people in the sorcerer tribe who could remain calm. They were the 2 ancestral patriarchs of the Wu people and they were both very old. If Lu Ming were here, he would definitely recognize one of them. He was the grand cultivator of the Wu people who had chased Lu Ming to the dragon race's home planet. Lu Ming had killed his descendant and he had been trying to kill Lu Ming. He had even participated in the attack on the dragon race's home planet. The 2 ancestral patriarchs of the Wu people were also divine lords, but they were only at the first level of the divine lord realm. On the Great Desolate 10,000 races roll, only the top 100 great races had divine master experts overseeing them. However, those with high cultivation and many years of cultivation knew that the races that were ranked near the top 100 also had divine master realm existences overseeing them. It was just that these people were usually in seclusion all year round. As the existences who were responsible for suppressing the fate of their race, they rarely made a move. The Wu people were ranked around 130th on the roll of 10,000 races, so it was normal for them to have divine lord realm overlords. It's true. After many years of investigation, we finally found where Lu Ming came from. He came from a place called the Taishu dynasty. That's only a pseudo-universal force and it's too remote. No one would have thought that the talented Lu Ming would come from such a remote place, but Lu Ming was indeed born there. Besides, his family and friends are all there, the divine Lord Realm Overlord said. His name was Wu Sai and he was one of the only 2 divine lords of the Wu people. Good, very good. Ha ha ha, as long as we take down Lu Ming's family and hand them over to the Heavenly Palace, Lu Ming will obey us. The Heavenly Palace will reward you handsomely. The divine lord of the angel race laughed. At the side, the blood kindred expert also smiled. When the time comes, please put in a good word for us in front of the Heavenly Palace. Wu Sai said, revealing a flattering smile. However, he secretly felt that it was a pity. If they had captured Lu Ming's relatives and handed them over to the Heavenly Palace, the rewards from the Heavenly Palace would have gone to the Wu people. However, the Wu people didn't have the right to establish contact with the important figures of the Heavenly Palace. They could only do so through the angels and vampires. However, if he could make a great contribution to the heavenly human tribe, he would definitely be rewarded handsomely. Their hearts burned with passion. Don't worry, there will be plenty of benefits for you. Now, let's go, said the angel race's god master. Immediately, the angels, vampires, and Wu people headed towards the Taishu dynasty. The angel race and the blood race each sent out 2 divine masters. The Wu people had sent out a divine master, Wu Shi. With such a lineup, it was a waste of talent to go to a pseudo-universe level force. Of course, this also proved that they valued Lu Ming's relatives. They had to make sure nothing went wrong. As long as they captured Lu Ming's relatives and friends, even if Lu Ming was hiding in the Heaven Destroyer, the Heavenly Palace would be able to force Lu Ming to submit. Unless Lu Ming didn't care about the lives of his relatives. However, according to the rumors, Lu Ming was a very loyal person. It could be said that once they captured Lu Ming's relatives, they would have Lu Ming's Achilles heel. Just as the angels, vampires, and Wu people were heading towards the Taishu dynasty, Lu Ming had already arrived at the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King residence. He was too fast. He could cross a planetary zone in one step. Even though the Great Illusionary Divine level was far from the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King residence, Lu Ming arrived quickly. Not bad at all. Lu Ming looked at a planet in the distance. On the planet, there was a dazzling glow. That was the glow of an array. Around the planet, there were huge battleships flying around the planet, surrounding it so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak out. However, such a defense was useless against Lu Ming. He took a step forward and passed through the layers of defense. He entered the planet and came to the foot of a mountain range. He scanned the area with his spiritual awareness and knew that this mountain range was where his relatives and friends lived. It was also where the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King residence was located. This statue, isn't it Mo Li? Lu Ming saw a huge statue at the foot of the mountain. It was at least 10,000 feet tall. He immediately recognized that this was the statue of his second disciple, Ouyang Mo Li. How dare you call Patriarch Mo Li by his name? Are you tired of living? A few young men shouted and appeared in front of Lu Ming. They looked at Lu Ming with hostility. Lu Ming casually glanced at them. He was very clear about the background of these few young men. The few youths looked like they had just broken through to the empty god realm. Such a cultivation was considered weak in the Taishu Holy Court. However, they were very arrogant. Patriarch Mo Li? This kid has become a patriarch. Lu Ming was confused. Could it be that these few brats were all Ouyang Mo Li's disciples and grand disciples? In that case, wouldn't they become Lu Ming's disciples and grand disciples? He went out for a trip, and when he came back, he suddenly had a bunch of disciples and grand disciples. Most importantly, these kids are so arrogant. Did Ouyang Mo Li teach them? Lu Ming blurted out these words involuntarily. However, when they landed in the ears of the few young men, it was a great disrespect to their patriarch. They immediately exploded. How dare you call Patriarch Mo Li a kid? It's over. It's over. Do you know who our Patriarch Mo Li is? What is his identity? He actually dares to use such a tone to call Ancestor Mo Li. He's really Finnish. Now, give him a chance to admit his mistake. Kneel down in front of Patriarch Mo Li's statue and kowtow. Patriarch Mo Li is a magnanimous man. Maybe he will spare your life. The young men clamored. You want him to admit his mistake in front of the statue? Are you serious? Lu Ming said with an inexplicable smile on his face. Would this kid dare to admit his mistake to Ouyang Mo Li? Nonsense, hurry up and admit your mistake. We think it's an unintentional mistake. We will spare you this time. Yes, 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 quickly admit your mistake. You have offended the patriarch. You must admit your mistake. The young men shouted. All right then. Let's see. Lu Ming smiled and stepped forward, coming to the front of the statue. Kid, my disciples want me to admit my mistake. I hope you won't cry. After saying that, Lu Ming cupped his fists. Rumble. The moment Lu Ming cupped his fists, the statue shook. Then, tears flowed out of the statue's two huge eyes. The statue was crying. Look, the patriarch's statue is crying. What's going on? What's going on? Could it be that kid's doing? Kid, what did you do? You still dare to play tricks at this time? The young men shouted angrily, thinking that it was Lu Ming's trick. Shut up, all of you. At this time, a loud roar came from the mountain range. Chapter 45:27. Shut up, you brats. A loud roar came from the depths of the mountain. At the same time, a figure dashed out from the mountain at an extremely fast speed. In the next moment, the figure appeared in front of everyone. He was tall and sturdy, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. Who else could it be other than Ouyang Moli? Old ancestor, you're here. Old ancestor, it's him. He offended you. We were about to ask him to admit his mistake, but we didn't expect him to play tricks. The young men pointed at Lu Ming and said, "Shut up, all of you." Ouyang Moli roared. His voice was like a thunderclap, and he stared at the young men fiercely like a lion. Ouyang Moli was about to cry. Don't these brats know how to read my face? My face is already so ugly, and they still don't know what's going on. The few young men shuddered at the thought of this. Old ancestor is angry. Did we do something wrong? Is that person's identity not simple? In the next moment, their pupils rapidly widened because a scene that shocked them had appeared. Plop. Ouyang Moli knelt in front of Lu Ming and kowtowed. Disciple Moli greets Master. Master, you're finally back. I haven't seen you for many years, and I've missed you so much. What? The young men were petrified. Their mouths were wide open, and they were completely dumbfounded. Master? Old ancestor Moli's master? Isn't that their ancestor? According to the legends, old ancestor Ouyang Moli's master was the true leader of the hidden dragon Heavenly King Mansion. The legendary figure of the Taishu dynasty, the peerless genius. They were actually so arrogant in front of this legendary figure, and even asked him to kowtow to Ouyang Moli's statue to admit his mistake. No wonder Ouyang Moli's statue was crying. They all wanted to cry. You're so impressive now. You're already an old ancestor, and the disciples you taught are still so arrogant. Are you out of control? Lu Ming said indifferently. His voice was a little cold. Oh no, Master is angry. Ouyang Moli roared in his heart. He was really about to cry. In his heart, he was already cursing those few youths to death. He was not far from this place and could sense the statue. Not long after Lu Ming arrived, he sensed it and immediately rushed over. Unexpectedly, he was still a little late. However, he secretly rejoiced that he had arrived in time. If Lu Ming had really apologized to his statue, he would have vomited blood. Even if he wasn't hammered to death by Lu Ming, he would be hammered to death by his senior martial sister, Xiong Xiong. Master, it's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. You brats, why aren't you coming over here to kowtow and apologize to your grandmaster? Ouyang Moli shouted. A few young men hurriedly ran over and knelt on the ground, bowing their heads and kowtowing. Patriarch, please calm down. We didn't do it on purpose. We didn't know it was you. If we had known, we wouldn't have dared to do it even if you gave us 10 guts. Ancestor, you are a magnanimous person. Please forgive us. The few young men were crying and snot. There was no need to mention how sad and regretful they were. Master, these brats are used to being fawned on by others. No one dares to offend them in the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King Palace. That's why they're so arrogant. I'll teach them a lesson in the future. Will you forgive them? Actually, they are not bad people. Hee hee. Ouyang Moli put on a cheeky smile and pleaded with Lu Ming. Go, go. Lu Ming waved his hand casually. He was too lazy to lower himself to the level of a few juniors. It would be beneath his status. However, the most important thing was that these young men were not bad people. This could be seen from their previous actions. The few young men only asked Lu Ming to apologize to Ouyang Moli and let him go. It could be seen that they were not bad people. If they were bad people, they might have wanted to kill him. If that was the case, Lu Ming would not let them go so easily. Master has agreed to let you go. You brats, why aren't you thanking Master and leaving at once? Ouyang Moli berated. The few youths naturally thanked him profusely and fled as fast as they could. Master, it's great that you're back. Senior sister and the others will be overjoyed if they know that you're back. I'll send them a message. Ouyang Moli immediately took out his sound-conducting jade talisman and sent over a few messages. Master, come with me. Ouyang Moli said with a smile. Lu Ming and Ouyang Moli stepped into the air and headed deep into the mountain range. How did you become a progenitor? Did you recruit a disciple? Lu Ming asked. Haha, Master, at that time, I saw a few very talented seedlings. My hands itched and I accepted them as my disciples. I didn't expect that those brats would also accept a bunch of disciples each. Just like that, they have been passed down. Ouyang Moli explained. No wonder your cultivation is improving so slowly. What about your senior sister? Did she recruit a disciple too? Lu Ming said. He knew that Ouyang Moli was only a 9th layer heavenly god. Initially, Zhongxian had predicted that Ouyang Moli would be able to achieve a breakthrough to the God King realm based on the vast amount of resources he had left behind before he left. However, Ouyang Moli was only a 9th layer heavenly god, which was a lot lower than what he had expected. It was most likely because he had recruited a disciple that affected his cultivation progress. She didn't recruit a disciple and has been focusing on her cultivation. She has already broken through to the Divine King realm. Ouyang Moli said. What about Shen Huang and the others? Did they recruit a disciple? Lu Ming asked again. No, I'm the only one who recruited a disciple, Ouyang Moli said awkwardly. They're here. Lu Ming suddenly looked deep into the mountain range. There were at least a few dozen figures flying over. Lu Ming's eyesight was so sharp that he could see the figures clearly even though they were far away. His parents, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping, flew over with smiles on their faces. There was also his son, Lu Shenhuang, his wife, and his granddaughter, Lu Kai, his first disciple, Xiong Xiong, his 2 in-name disciples, Hua Kai, Pang Shu, Yuan Huan, and the others who were closest to Lu Ming had all arrived. Soon, dozens of people arrived before them. Ming-er. Li Ping flew to Lu Ming quickly and sized him up from head to toe. Her eyes were filled with tears and longing. You're a woman, you're always tearing up when you see me. Lu Yuntian pretended to scold her, but his eyes were misty too. He looked at Lu Ming and said, It's great that you're back. Father and mother have both achieved the God realm. Lu Ming scanned with his spiritual sense and discovered that Lu Yuntian and Li Ping had both achieved the God realm. Lu Yuntian had even reached the true God realm. Lu Yuntian had always been fond of cultivation. After coming to the Eldritch universe, he had worked even harder. Although his talent was average, he had also reached the true God realm with Lu Ming's vast resources. As for Li Ping, she didn't like cultivation at all. She was just an ordinary person and had relied on Lu Ming's resources to increase her cultivation. Chapter 45-28. After entering the immortal state, one would have a long lifespan, at least a stellar year. Lu Ming didn't have to worry about Lu Yuntian and Li Ping's lifespan anymore. Grandpa. As soon as Lu Ming greeted Li Ping and Lu Yuntian, a crisp voice sounded and a figure jumped into Lu Ming's arms. This figure was naturally Lu Kai. Kai, you're not a little girl anymore. Why are you still acting like a child? Lu Ming coughed and said. Humph, Kai will always be a child in front of Grandpa. Who dares to gossip? Lu Kai snorted coldly. The corners of his mouth rose as he looked around. Lu Yuntian, Ouyang Moli, Yuan Huan and the others burst into laughter. Kai, don't mess around. Lu Shenhuang walked over and scolded with a stern face. However, Lu Kai made a face at Lu Shenhuang and stuck out his tongue. He held on to Lu Ming's arm and refused to let go. Shenhuang, don't worry. Seeing that Lu Shenhuang was about to scold Lu Kai again, Lu Ming raised his hand and stopped Lu Shenhuang. Lu Ming doted on this eccentric granddaughter very much. Shenhuang, your cultivation has fallen behind. Even Kai is catching up to you. Lu Ming glanced at Lu Shenhuang's cultivation and said, Dad. Lu Shenhuang's face turned red and he looked a little embarrassed. Grandpa, Dad doesn't like to go out and take risks, but I'm different. I travel and adventure. I want to be as great as Grandpa in the future. Lu Kai waved her little fist and said. This guy didn't hesitate to betray his biological father. Lu Ming nodded. He noticed that Lu Shenhuang's cultivation had just reached the immortal king realm. Lu Kai's cultivation had reached the 9th level of the heavenly god realm, similar to Ouyang Moli. Logically speaking, Lu Shenhuang's talent was the highest among the juniors, even higher than Xiong Xiong, Ouyang Moli, and Lu Kai. However, his cultivation was only slightly higher than Ouyang Moli and Lu Kai, but not as high as Lu Xiong Xiong. Lu Kai was right. Lu Shenhuang didn't like to travel or take risks. He liked to be with his family. It was better when he was young, especially after he got married and had a family. On the other hand, Lu Kai was a mischievous person who liked to take risks and travel everywhere. It was just that he lacked some opportunities, otherwise, his cultivation would be even higher. Kaya, are you married? Lu Ming asked curiously. Lu Kai was not young anymore. He had long reached the age where he could get married. No, there are a lot of people pursuing me, but I don't like any of them. Lu Kai shook his head. Father, this girl's standards are very high. She said that she wants to find a genius like father. Where can she find one? When you come back, you have to discipline her. I have a headache, Lu Shenhuang mumbled, causing Lu Kai to give him a sidelong glance. The others burst into laughter. Master. A fragrant wind drifted over. Xiong Xiong slowly walked over and bowed to Lu Ming. Lu Xiong Xiong wasn't the little girl she used to be. She looked like she was in her 20s. Her figure was slim, and her beauty was outstanding. She wasn't below Autumn Moon, Huang Ling, and the others. Xiong Xiong, your cultivation base isn't bad. Lu Ming nodded satisfactorily. Among them, only Xiong Xiong's cultivation base satisfied Lu Ming. 6th King God Realm. This was Lu Xiong Xiong's cultivation base. Her cultivation speed was already amazing. Xiong Xiong's talent was amazing, and her willpower was even stronger. She had been following in Lu Ming's footsteps, constantly moving forward. It's a pity that she lacks some opportunities. I can bring her to the ruins of the universe and let her practice more. Her cultivation base will have an explosive period. Lu Ming pondered. Next, Lu Ming exchanged a few pleasantries with the rest. They chatted as they walked. Soon, they arrived at a large hall. Naturally, someone set up a banquet to welcome Lu Ming. During the banquet, Lu Ming also explained his purpose for coming back this time. He wanted to bring everyone away and head to a cultivation place that was 100 times better than the Taishu sacred dynasty. In fact, Lu Ming was not exaggerating. The base of the Heaven Exterminating Army in the ruins of the universe had Origin Realm powerhouses who had improved the environment and created a sacred cultivation ground. The actual cultivation conditions were probably 100 times better than those in the Taishu sacred dynasty. Everyone was moved. At the same time, they were extremely tempted. A place 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty? What kind of place was that? Wouldn't their cultivation base advance by leaps and bounds if they cultivated there? Immediately, everyone agreed. They trusted Lu Ming completely. Moreover, cultivation was the most important goal for cultivators. They were different from ordinary people. Ordinary people were particular about staying in a place for a long time. They would treat that place as their root and would not leave easily. However, cultivators were different. In order to increase their cultivation base, they would travel and train everywhere. They would go to some dangerous places. They didn't have a fixed residence. Their goal was to increase their cultivation base. Therefore, if there was a place 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty, everyone wanted to go. They were all looking forward to it. As for the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King's residence, it was nothing compared to the increase in cultivation. Any one of them would be able to manage it. All right then. You can start preparing. I have a treasure that can form its own world. It's extremely huge. You can take it with you as many people as you want. Those who want to go together can go together. Lu Ming said. All right. Everyone nodded and left one after another to make preparations. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping didn't leave. They had nothing to prepare. They just wanted to chat with Lu Ming and talk about what Lu Ming had been through during this time. Oh right, Ming where are Xiao Qing and Autumn Moon? How have they been all these years? Have you seen them? Li Ping asked. The two of them were her daughter-in-law, and they hadn't seen each other for many years. Naturally, she missed them very much. Especially Autumn Moon, who was obedient. They had watched her grow up. Back then, Autumn Moon had gone missing while searching for Lu Ming. They were extremely worried because there had been no news of her for so many years. Father, Mother, don't worry. Xiao Qing and Autumn Moon are fine. They are waiting for us at the place we are going. Lu Ming smiled. Good, good, that's great, that's great. Hearing that Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon were fine and that they would be able to meet soon, the old couple was very happy. Father, mother, let me introduce you to someone. Lu Ming said. With a wave of his hand, Autumn Moon appeared in front of the old couple. This is. The old couple sized up Ling Yuwei and were both stunned by her appearance and temperament. As the elf princess, Ling Yuwei had once been ranked as one of the 20 most beautiful women in the universe. There was nothing to say about her temperament and appearance. Father, mother, her name is Ling Yuwei. She is the princess of the universe's great elves and also your future daughter-in-law. As Lu Ming introduced her, he walked to Ling Yuwei's side and held her small hand. Hearing Lu Ming's introduction, Ling Yuwei's face turned red like an apple. She looked even more beautiful as she bowed to the old couple and said, Yuwei greets uncle and aunt. Chapter 45-29. Looking at Ling Yuwei, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping were in a daze. It took them a while to react. Li Ping hurriedly held Ling Yuwei's hand and looked up and down. Her face was full of smiles as she said, Good, good, good. Ling Yuwei only blushed and lowered her head, not knowing what to say. Yuwei, you should enter the Great Desolate Ring first. I still have something to say to my parents. Lu Ming said. He mainly wanted to avoid Ling Yuwei from feeling awkward. All right. Ling Yuwei quickly nodded. She felt that the pressure from facing Lu Yuntian and Li Ping was even greater than facing the Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming waved his hand, and the Great Desolate Ring produced a suction force, sending Ling Yuwei back into the ring. Cough cough, Minga, aren't you too fickle in love? You already have Autumn Moon and Xiao Qing. I remember that Miss Mulins and Miss Huang Ling were also quite close to you. Why did you find another elf princess now? Lu Yuntian coughed dryly. What's wrong with that? It's normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Moreover, my Minga is so outstanding, it's normal for girls to like him. Li Ping immediately spoke up for Lu Ming. In her heart, the more daughter-in-law, the better. Is it normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines? Then should I also, Lu Yuntian muttered. What did you say? Li Ping's voice suddenly rose as her eyes widened. Ahaha, no, nothing. Pinga, you look so good today, ha ha ha. Lu Yuntian hurriedly laughed to cover it up. Humph. Li Ping snorted coldly. Lu Ming snickered at the side. So this father of his was actually so afraid of his wife. This was the first time he had discovered it. Little brat, you're gloating, aren't you? If you dare to say a single word about what happened today, I won't forgive you. Lu Yuntian sent a sound transmission to Lu Ming, flying into a rage out of humiliation. Lu Ming's smile immediately disappeared, and he pretended as if nothing had happened, as if he hadn't seen anything. After that, Li Ping asked about Lu Ming's experiences over the years. Lu Ming only talked about a part of it. Of course, Lu Ming would not talk about the dangerous parts. For example, being captured by the heavenly human race and sent to the heavenly prison. Very quickly, 2 days passed. Outside the Hidden Dragon Royal Palace, there was a vast and spacious area filled with people. These were all people who wanted to follow Lu Ming to the new place. The total number of people added up to at least 10 million. After more than 1,000 years of development, as well as the time when he was in the chaotic Star River, Lu Ming's family and friends had a lot of people. Putting everything else aside, just the Lu clan alone had been passed down for dozens of generations, and had an astonishing number of people. There were also the descendants of Hua Kai and Pangshe, who were already a colossus. Tens of millions of people were not a lot. Of course, not everyone left with Lu Ming. Some people were reluctant to give up the power here and decided to stay. For example, a portion of the Lu family intended to stay behind. Lu Ming did not reject them and allowed them to continue managing the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King Mansion. Lu Ming also left behind a few quasi-emperor puppets to help them guard the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King Mansion. Lu Ming would not force them to stay or leave. He only wanted the people closest to him to go with him. He did not care about the others. After all, They had brought all the living beings from the primordial realm out of the heaven realm. Now, they were scattered in the chaotic Star River, the Qin Tian Starfield, and the Taishu dynasty. The number was shocking. Lu Ming did not care about these people anymore. He would let them develop on their own. Lu Ming would not reject those who wanted to go with Lu Ming. For example, the ancestor of techniques, the ancestral dragon, the 9 lives demonic silkworm, the titan longhorn beetle, and a group of old comrades who had fought together with him in the past. They were all willing to go with Lu Ming. Lu Ming naturally would not reject them. Gate, open. Lu Ming stood in the air and shouted. He activated the ancient desolation ring with all his might. Suddenly, a huge whirlpool appeared in the sky. It was 1,000 miles wide. Go in. Lu Ming's voice rang out. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The densely packed silhouettes soared into the sky and disappeared into the vortex. The 1,000 miles wide whirlpool was shocking. Tens of millions of living beings entered the ancient desolation ring in no time. Only Lu Ming was left in this area. To the Taishu sacred capital. Lu Ming took a step forward and headed towards the Taishu sacred capital. However, before Lu Ming left, the Taishu sacred capital was already in danger. The experts from the Angel tribe, the Blood tribe, and the Wu people had already surrounded the Taishu sacred capital. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, the Undying Demon King, the Holy Old Heavenly King, Yi Tian, and the rest were trembling in fear in front of the experts from the 3 tribes. It was mainly because the other party was too terrifying. When the other party arrived, the strongest army of the Taishu dynasty could not withstand a single blow. The other party only sent one person and only used one move to wipe out the 100,000 strongest army of the Taishu dynasty. Nothing was left. Even the Undying Demon King was drenched in cold sweat when facing the person who attacked. He was extremely terrified. The other party was too powerful. The Undying Demon King knew that he was no match for the other party. If he attacked, he would only die. He would end up like the 100,000 strong army. Moreover, this was only one of the hundreds of people who had walked out casually. The Angel tribe, the legendary Angel tribe. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, the Undying Demon King, and the rest were terrified. They could recognize the person who attacked because he had extended his angel wings. The enemy they were facing was the legendary Angel tribe. Although the Taishu dynasty was extremely remote, they had heard rumors about the Angel tribe. They were the overlords of the universe. They were extremely powerful and dominated thousands of star regions in the universe. Compared to the Angel tribe, the Taishu dynasty was like the difference between an ant and a divine dragon. The other party could wipe out the Taishu dynasty with a single breath. Now, such a powerful person was actually looking for them. Was the Taishu sacred dynasty going to be finished? Jingmo and Kong Shishue turned pale. May I know why all of you have come to the Great Void Holy Court? Jingmo asked in a low voice. We're here to find Lu Ming. An elder from the Angel tribe spoke. This elder was a divine master realm expert from the Angel tribe, named Yelu Chuan. You don't have to deny it. We've found out that Lu Ming is from the Taishu dynasty. His family and friends are all in the Taishu dynasty. Tell us, where are Lu Ming's family and friends? Yelu Chuan continued. Are they Lu Ming's enemies? At this moment, Jingmo, Kong Shishue, the Undying Demon King, Blue Merchant, and the 1,000 Holy Old Heavenly King were moved. The difference was that Lan Shong and Old Heavenly King Qian Sheng were extremely anxious. Lu Ming had actually provoked such an enemy and was about to face a calamity. They were extremely anxious and wanted to send a message to Lu Ming, asking him to bring his family and leave. However, under the surveillance of the Angel tribe, the Blood race, and the Wu people, they couldn't do it. Chapter 45-30. Everyone from the Taishu dynasty had many thoughts in their minds, but no one said a word. You'd better tell us quickly. Otherwise, the Taishu dynasty will be annihilated. Yelu Chuan said. You want us to betray Heavenly King Hidden Dragon? Dream on. If you want to kill us, then kill us. At this moment, a brawny man shouted. This man was a general of the Taishu dynasty, An 8th-level Divine Lord. He had received Lu Ming's favor back then and was loyal to Lu Ming. How dare you disrespect the Divine Lord? You're courting death. A brawny man from the angel race shouted coldly as his eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Bang! The 8th-level Divine Lord General of the Taishu Holy Court exploded, his body and soul destroyed. Lan Shong, Undying Demon King, and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't even see how the brawny man from the angel race attacked. They only heard him shout and the body of an 8th-level Divine Lord of the Taishu dynasty exploded. What kind of method was that? Silently killing an 8th-level Divine Lord without making a sound, making the other party unable to fight back, even the Undying Demon King couldn't do it. The difference was too great. The experts of the angel race were unfathomable. Apart from the angel race, there were 2 other forces that were also terrifying. How could they fight against such enemies? And what kind of realm was the Divine Lord? Jingmo, Kong Shishue, Blue Merchant, Undying Demon King and the others were confused. They had never heard of the Divine Lord realm. Blue Merchant, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King and the others only knew of the Divine Emperor realm. In their eyes, the Divine Emperor realm was the synonym of invincibility. When Undying Demon King was at his peak, he had gone out to explore the universe. However, he only went to a few of the bigger forces and the strongest he knew was the Divine Lord realm. Was the Divine Lord realm a higher realm? I advise you not to hide anything. Our strength isn't something you can guess. If you don't tell us, you'll end up miserable. Yelu Chuan said coldly. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, and the Undying Demon King all looked hesitant. For Jingmo and Kong Shishue, Lu Ming was their savior. It could be said that without Lu Ming, they wouldn't be where they were today. If it was not necessary, they would not betray Lu Ming. As for the Undying Demon King, he was very afraid of Lu Ming because of the anti-magic restriction placed on him by the Bone Devil. If he really betrayed Lu Ming and Lu Ming didn't die, then he would be in trouble. As for Blue Merchant, Holy Old Heavenly King, and Yi Tian, they would never betray Lu Ming. Therefore, no one spoke for a while. Looks like you guys are still holding on to hope. Don't you know what I'm capable of? Yelu Chuan said coldly. Then, he stretched out his hand and grabbed at the universe. Then, Jingmo, Kong Shishue, Undying Demon King, Blue Merchant, Holy Old Heavenly King, and the others narrowed their eyes and opened their mouths in shock. Huge stars could be seen hanging in the distant starry sky of the universe. At this moment, 5 huge stars suddenly moved towards them. They were very fast. Soon, not far from Taishu Sacred Capital, 5 huge stars appeared. They emitted terrifying heat, causing the temperature of the area to rise rapidly. Obviously, these 5 stars had been captured by Yelu Chuan from a distance. However, this was not the most shocking thing. The most shocking thing was yet to come. When the 5 stars approached Taishu Sacred Capital, they began to shrink rapidly. It was as if there was an invisible force shrouding the 5 stars and compressing them, causing them to shrink continuously. Soon, the 5 stars were compressed into 5 round balls the size of walnuts. They were fiery red like 5 fiery red crystal beads and fell into Yelu Chuan's hand. Catcher, catcher, Yelu Chuan held the 5 round balls in his hand and slowly played with them. When the people of the Taishu dynasty saw this, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. They were almost scared to death. Shock, incomparable shock, heartless and endless shock. God, what kind of power is this? Those were 5 incomparably huge stars, but with a casual grab from Yelu Chuan, they were compressed into 5 walnut-sized balls that he could grasp in his hand. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would never have dreamed that there was such a powerful person in the universe. What kind of cultivation was this? What kind of power was this? This level of strength was already inconceivable. An ordinary Sir God, if he attacked with all his strength, could cause a devastating blow to a planet. A battle between several slightly stronger divine lords could even blow up an ordinary planet with life. Of course, this referred to ordinary planets with life. Moreover, there were no defensive formations set up on them. A quasi-emperor level existence could easily blow up an ordinary planet with life. However, stars were different. The size of a star was often tens of thousands of times larger than an ordinary planet. It could even be hundreds of thousands or even millions of times larger. It was too difficult to blow up a star. Quasi-emperors would never be able to do it. Even a divine emperor like Undying Demon could not do it. However, it was just destroying a star. Compared to the difficulty of grabbing 5 stars, compressing them into the size of walnuts, and playing with them in his hand, it was simply incomparable. The difference was like the difference between a candle flame and a bright moon. This kind of means was simply beyond the scope of their imagination. Was this the power of the Angel Clan, the overlord of the universe? This was too terrifying. Lu Ming had actually offended such a powerful person. There was only one outcome for him, and that was to be dead. Blue Merchant, Holy Old Heavenly King, Yi Tian, and the others looked pale. They were worried about Lu Ming. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, and Undying Demon's eyes began to flicker. They were deep in thought. I'll give you a chance. Tell me the whereabouts of Lu Ming's family. Not only will I not kill you, but I will also reward you with a supreme opportunity. I don't have much time. Tell me quickly, Yelu Chuan said lightly. The struggle in Jingmo, Kong Shishue, and Undying Demon's eyes became more intense. They did not want to say anything, but the other party was too strong. Even if they did not say anything, they could not stop him from searching their souls. At most, we will die. Everyone, I believe in Lu Ming. He will avenge us. Blue Merchant roared. His eyes were filled with determination. You're courting death. The Angel Clan burly man who attacked previously roared. An invisible force pressed on Blue Merchant. With Blue Merchant's cultivation, he would definitely not be able to block this person's attack. He would die on the spot like the previous 8th level Divine Lord General. However, at this moment, a cold voice sounded. I think you're the one courting death. Then, the space in front of Blue Merchant directly cracked. A figure suddenly emerged. The power of the Angel Clan's attack fell on this person, but it did not cause any ripples. End of chapter. Chapter 45-31. The person who had suddenly appeared was naturally Lu Ming. He had left the Hidden Dragon Heavenly King Palace and broken the void. His speed was astonishing. In a short while, he had arrived at the Taishu Sacred Capital. As soon as he arrived at the Taishu Sacred Capital, he saw the angel trying to kill Blue Merchant. Lu Ming was enraged. He shouted furiously and broke the void to appear in front of Blue Merchant. He blocked the attack for Blue Merchant. At the same time, a spear light suddenly appeared above the angel's head. The angel only had the cultivation of the first great supreme god layer. The difference between him and Lu Ming was too great. How could he block Lu Ming's attack? The Divine Lord of the Angel Clan had never thought that Lu Ming would suddenly appear. He wanted to save him, but it was too late. Poof! The angel's head was pierced through by the spear light. His soul was destroyed and he died on the spot. His corpse was sucked into the Taishu Sacred Capital and smashed into the city wall. This, Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. He killed the Angel Clan's expert. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, the Undying Demon King, Blue Merchant, and the others immediately noticed Lu Ming. They were astonished. Lu Ming had actually killed the burly man from the Angel Clan just now. Moreover, he had killed him in one move. The Angel Clan's expert strength had left a deep impression on them. He had silently killed an 8th great supreme god expert. His strength was unfathomable. He was definitely stronger than the Undying Demon King. Such an expert could easily destroy a force like the Taishu dynasty. He was an existence that was far beyond their reach. He was also an existence that was incomparably terrifying. Such an existence had been killed by Lu Ming in one move. After recovering from their shock, they took a deep breath. Lu Ming is already so strong. It seems like I have seriously underestimated him. Blue Merchant sighed in his heart. He's too strong. In just 1,000 years, Lu Ming has actually reached such a level. It's simply incredible. No wonder he was able to reshape the structure of the Taishu dynasty. He's even more amazing than Jingyu back then. Kong Shishue was also amazed. Especially the Undying Demon King, who could not help but break out in cold sweat. Because he remembered that a few days ago, he seemed to have provoked Lu Ming and wanted to spar with Lu Ming. He even wanted to take down Lu Ming and have Lu Ming remove the anti-magic restriction on him. Thinking of this, he felt a lingering fear. His strength was too far from Lu Ming's. Wanting to spar with Lu Ming with this kind of strength, wasn't that just looking for a beating? Fortunately, he sensed Lu Ming's terrifying aura and stopped in time. At first, he thought that Lu Ming should have at least reached the third godly emperor layer, but now he realized that he had underestimated Lu Ming. Could it be that Lu Ming has already reached the high-level godly emperor layer, or even the legendary divine emperor layer? But he has only been away for 1,000 years. How is that possible? The undying demon king could not figure it out. Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming. The angels, the blood clan, and the Wu people were also shocked. They had come here to capture Lu Ming's family and friends and then hand them over to the heavenly human clan to threaten Lu Ming. They had never thought that Lu Ming himself would be there too. Great, ha ha ha. Yelu Chuan reacted quickly and couldn't help but laugh wildly. The blood clan and the Wu people also reacted the same way. If Lu Ming was there, why would they capture Lu Ming's family and friends? Wouldn't it be more meritorious for them to capture Lu Ming and hand him over to the heavenly human clan? Bang! One of the blood clan's divine lords stepped into the air, exuding a terrifying aura. Under this aura, the entire starry sky was trembling. Then, Wu Sai, Yelu Chuan, and the others of the Wu people also released powerful qi. Rumble. It was as if the sky and the earth had turned upside down, the sun and the moon had sunk, and the boundless starry sky was shaking. The stars in the distance were shaking as if they were about to fall. The qi of a godly master was too terrifying. Lu Ming used forbidden strength to envelop Blue Merchant and the others. Otherwise, they would not be able to withstand such a powerful qi and would be crushed to death. Ha ha, as the saying goes, a well-intentioned flower doesn't bloom, but an unintentional willow grows. Lu Ming, you delivered yourself to me. Good, very good, very good. Yelu Chuan laughed. Lu Ming, surrender yourself without putting up a fight. A godly master of the blood clan said. You want to capture me with just you? Ha ha. Lu Ming sneered. To be honest, he didn't take these people seriously. These people actually found this place, making him feel waves of lingering fear in his heart. Fortunately, he had come back early. If he had come back a few days later, not only would the Taishu dynasty be in danger, but his family and friends would also be in danger. He had put these people on his must-kill list. In his heart, they were already dead. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you're too arrogant. I admit that you're very talented. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that you're the best in the universe, but do you really think you can fight against me? Yelu Chuan sneered confidently. Lu Ming's cultivation was merely at the 9th level of the Emperor God realm. Yes, he didn't know that Lu Ming had broken through to the godly master realm. The heavenly human race knew that Lu Ming had broken through to the godly master realm in the Life Soul Heavenly Court. However, in the eyes of the heavenly human race, the blood clan, and the other races were just slaves. The heavenly human race didn't have the habit of ruling over their slaves. In fact, Lu Ming had broken through to the godly master realm not long ago. Even among the heavenly human race, only a few people knew about it. The angels, the blood clan, and the Wu people didn't know that Lu Ming had broken through to the godly master realm. They still thought that Lu Ming was a 9th-level divine god. Moreover, Yelu Chuan was a 2nd-level divine lord, not a 1st-level divine lord. Naturally, he didn't put Lu Ming under pressure. You can try, Lu Ming said indifferently. Don't overestimate yourself. Kneel. Yelu Chuan shouted and slapped down. This palm was 100 times more dazzling than the sun. A huge palm formed in the sky and pressed down on Lu Ming. When the palm struck out, the starry sky trembled. The universe couldn't withstand such a terrifying power. Huge cracks appeared and stretched endlessly. Some of the stars, including the stars, directly exploded. Terrifying, too terrifying. This kind of attack could destroy the world. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, Undying Demon King, and the others couldn't help but tremble under the attack. Deep fear rose in their hearts. Helplessness. Under such an attack, they felt a deep sense of helplessness. No matter what they did, they could not escape. There was only death. Their souls would scatter, and they would be turned into ashes. It's over. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, Undying Demon King, and the others thought. Lu Ming, go, go. Don't worry about us. Blue Merchant shouted. However, Lu Ming still had a faint smile on his face. Lan Shu, it's okay. I'll go take their heads. Lu Ming smiled. Then, a terrifying aura erupted from his body as if a volcano had erupted. Then, he punched. End of chapter. Chapter 45-32. Lu Ming threw a punch. A bright fist force erupted, piercing through the void and colliding with Yelu Chuan's condensed palm. It directly pierced through Yelu Chuan's fist force. Your cultivation. How is that possible? Yelu Chuan couldn't believe it, shouting in shock. Lu Ming's aura burst out, revealing his cultivation level. Divine Lord Realm. Lu Ming's cultivation level was at the Divine Lord Realm. Yelu Chuan was shocked, as were the experts of the Angel race, the Blood race, and the Wu people. When he was in the Grand Supreme Immortal City, Lu Ming's cultivation level was only at the 9th level of the Emperor God realm. According to reliable sources, Lu Ming's cultivation level had just broken through to the 9th level of the Emperor God realm. He had not been in the 9th level of the Emperor God realm for a long time. Lu Ming had accumulated so much in just a few years. He had broken through to the Divine Lord realm. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, the Immortal Demon King, Blue Merchant, and the others were also shocked. Lu Ming's aura was too terrifying, giving them a feeling that it was boundless, unfathomable, and unfathomable. Yelu Chuan's horrifying palm strike, that seemingly irresistible palm strike, was actually defeated by Lu Ming's punch. Was this Lu Ming's real strength? They couldn't calm down. Old man, I'll send you to hell. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning, emitting cold killing intent. He took a step forward and charged towards Yelu Chuan. All the cells in his body trembled. Vast and boundless taboo power surged out continuously, converging into a vast ocean-like power that surged toward Lu Ming's fists. Boom! Lu Ming punched again, shattering the void. The terrifying fist energy pierced through the universe and headed towards Yelu Chuan. Before the fist energy reached him, the pressure from the void had already pressed down on some of the Angel race, the Blood race, and the Wu people. These people had pained looks on their faces as they howled in pain. Cracks could be seen on the surface of these people's bodies. Under the terrifying pressure, their bodies became distorted and deformed, and finally, with a bang, they exploded. Before the fist force arrived, more than 20 people from the 3 races were killed by the pressure of the fist force. All of this took a long time to describe, but it actually happened in an instant. In an instant, the fist energy closed in on Yelu Chuan, locking him in place. Angel battle sword. Yelu Chuan roared, 10 angelic wings appeared on his back. Holy light soared to the sky as an angelic sword flew out, slashing out a terrifying sword light that collided with Lu Ming's fist energy. Boom! With a deafening boom, Yelu Chuan's body was sent flying, crashing into a distant planet. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His face was extremely pale. A large hole had been blasted in his chest. His front and back were completely transparent. His body had almost been blasted into 2. In one move, Yelu Chuan was severely injured. This time, the remaining people of the Angels, the Blood tribe, and the Sorcerer tribe were all stunned and stunned. Yelu Chuan was a 2nd-level Divine Lord, but he was severely injured in one move. How could Lu Ming's battle strength be so terrifying? Run, run, leave this place. We're no match for him. Then, the Angels, vampires, and Wu people panicked. They roared and tried to escape. Although the 3 races had 5 Divine Lords and the vampires had a 2nd-level Divine Lord, they knew that even if they worked together, they were no match for Lu Ming. You can't escape. Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. He activated the battle character manual, increasing his battle strength by 7 times. He waved his hands, and a continent appeared in the sky. The second move of his self-created secret technique, the primordial desolate form. In an instant, the continent expanded rapidly. It was even larger than the great illusionary Saint realm. It covered the sky and the sun, enveloping all the people of the three races. Then, he pressed down. Kaboom! The violent energy shook the heavens and the earth. The people of the three races had nowhere to run. Block it. Let's attack together. A divine lord from the blood race roared. He transformed into his true form, which was a giant bat. When he spread his wings, they were tens of thousands of miles long. Moreover, the bat's wings were golden. When he flapped his wings, there was an explosion of bloody light. This was a second-layer divine master, and his terrifying aura made Lan Shang, undying demon king, and the others turn pale. In addition, there was another first-level divine lord from the blood race. He also transformed into his true form. The other masters of the blood race also transformed into their true forms. The angels of the angel race spread their wings. Holy light spread out and illuminated the sky. The Wu people also attacked with all their might. Black fog filled the sky. The masters of the three races joined forces and attacked the primordial desolate continent with the strongest attack of their lives. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The universe shook violently. Then, the attacks of the three races collapsed. They couldn't stop Lu Ming's attack at all. Screams rang out. The bodies of the masters below the divine lord realm of the three races exploded. Their souls were destroyed by the powerful force. They died on the spot. When the primordial desolate continent pressed down, all the masters below the divine lord realm of the three races died. Only 4 divine master realm existences were still alive. There was a first-level divine lord from the angel race, a second-level divine lord and a first-level divine lord from the blood race, and Wu Sai from the Wu people. The 4 of them trembled violently, especially the 3 first-level divine lords. Cracks appeared on their skin, and they spat out mouthfuls of blood. The second-level divine lord from the blood race was also injured. One of his golden wings was destroyed. This blue merchant, Jingmo, Kong Shishue, undying demon king, thousand saint old heavenly king, and the others had their mouths wide open. They were completely stunned and petrified. At this moment, they felt as if their brains had turned into mush. They couldn't understand what was going on. The shock in his heart could not be greater. One move. With just one move, only a few of the hundreds of masters were left. Those masters who seemed to be lawless and as vast as the abyss, as if they could destroy the universe, were also injured by Lu Ming's attack. As for the others, they died immediately. There were hundreds of masters, and each of them seemed to have terrifying strength. Just now, several hundred people had joined forces to erupt, and each of them had displayed incomparably terrifying strength. They felt that any one of them was stronger than Undying Demon King. Any one of them could defeat the Taishu dynasty, the barbarian race, and the Qiani sacred dynasty. So many masters, and they had joined forces, but they were killed by Lu Ming with one move. Lu Ming's strength was so strong that it was unimaginable. Undying Demon King's body kept trembling. He was afraid. Previously, he wanted to fight with Lu Ming, but he was simply overestimating himself. He was courting death. Lu Ming might be able to crush him into smithereens and destroy his body and soul. Jingmo, Kong Shishue, and the others were also shocked. It had only been 1,000 years since Lu Ming left the Taishu dynasty, and he had reached such an unbelievable level. Was he still human? End of chapter. Chapter 45-33. The power is too scattered. It's indeed much weaker. Lu Ming frowned when he saw that the 4 divine masters were still alive. He wasn't satisfied with the power of the Eldritch Barren Land style. He had made the Eldritch Barren Land extremely large with the purpose of covering the hundreds of masters of the 3 races and ensuring that no one could escape. The larger the area, the less powerful it was. Although it was more than enough to kill beings below the God Emperor realm, it wasn't enough to kill divine masters. Several divine masters joined forces to resist, but they were only injured and didn't die. But this is enough. Lu Ming made a grabbing motion in the air, condensing a long spear. He took a step forward, charging towards Yelu Chuan at lightning speed. The long spear pressed down like a mountain, covering the sky and enveloping Yelu Chuan. Yelu Chuan was severely injured and couldn't escape at all. That cold and terrifying murderous aura made Yelu Chuan's heart turn cold. No, don't kill me. I'm a member of the heavenly human race. If you kill me, the heavenly human race won't let you go. Yelu Chuan shouted in fear. Yes, he was from the angel race. His surname wasn't originally this, but he was loyal to the heavenly human race and had made great contributions, so the heavenly human race gave him the surname. This was an extremely honorable thing for all the races in the universe. Being given a surname by the heavenly human race meant that he was half a member of the heavenly human race. He would be respected by all the races in the universe. In fact, this was also a way for the heavenly human race to win people over. The heavenly human race would give surnames to those who had made great contributions and were loyal to the heavenly human race. This was also a way to control the other races. However, Yelu Chuan was desperate. He used the heavenly human race to threaten Lu Ming. Didn't he know that the forbidden body was the enemy of the heavenly human race? If he used the heavenly human race to threaten Lu Ming, he would die even if he didn't. Ridiculous, Lu Ming said coldly. He didn't stop attacking. The long spear pressed down at an even faster speed and finally hit Yelu Chuan's body. Yelu Chuan let out an unwilling scream, then his body exploded and his soul was destroyed. A second-level divine master was killed just like that. You want to leave? Then, Lu Ming's gaze swept over the surroundings, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. This was because the other 4 divine masters had already fled in all directions. They fled in 4 different directions at an extremely fast speed. Ti Bai was the blood race expert at the second level of the divine master realm. With a flap of his wings, he tore open the starry sky and traveled through the void. In a flash, he was already 1,000,000 miles away. However, how could Lu Ming let them escape? The war god spear appeared in his hand and taboo energy gushed into it. Whoosh! The war god spear charged toward the second-level divine master of the blood race. Too fast. The war god spear was fast to the extreme. It rushed into the dark void and disappeared. But a moment later, a scream came from the distant starry sky, and then a massive figure appeared. It was the blood race second-layer divine lord. However, at that moment, that person's head had already exploded. There was no sound at all. Evidently, he was already dead. At the same time that Lu Ming threw out the war god spear, Lu Ming used the greater teleportation technique and appeared in front of the Wu people's Wu Sai. The 3 first-level divine masters had been severely injured by the Desolate Era's attack, so their speed was greatly affected. Lu Ming caught up with them easily. Lu Ming, Wu Sai was shocked and quickly retreated, his heart filled with fear. Back then, he had pursued Lu Ming all the way to the dragon race's mother planet. Back then, the ant that was not worth mentioning in his eyes had now grown to such a level, and could easily kill him. Lu Ming didn't waste any time. The moment he appeared, he threw out a punch. Wu Sai roared, his voice stern. He used all his strength to resist, but it was useless. The difference in strength between him and Lu Ming was too great. Moreover, he was injured. With a bang, Wu Sai's body exploded. Humph, the substitution technique is useless in front of me, Lu Ming said coldly. He bent his fingers into a claw and grabbed at the void. The void collapsed and a scream could be heard. Lu Ming grabbed a figure out of the void. It was Wu Sai. It turned out that Wu Sai had used the Wu people's substitution technique. Lu Ming had only killed Wu Sai's substitution puppet with 1 punch. His original body had already escaped into the void and wanted to take the opportunity to escape. However, none of his actions could escape Lu Ming's eyes. He grabbed Wu Sai and pulled him out. No, don't kill me, Wu Sai shouted in fear. However, Lu Ming's eyes were cold and he didn't want to waste time talking to him. He clenched his hand and a violent energy surged into Wu Sai's body. Wu Sai's body exploded and his soul was destroyed. As soon as Wu Sai died, The war god spear flew back to Lu Ming's hand and was caught by Lu Ming. Swish! Lu Ming swung the war god spear again, and it flew toward the other first-level divine lord of the blood race. As for himself, he used the greater teleportation technique and charged toward the first-level divine lord of the angel race. The slight delay in killing Wu Sai had allowed the two first-level divine lords to escape far away. However, Lu Ming was confident that the war god spear was enough to kill the first-level divine lord of the blood race. After Lu Ming had infused the war god spear with forbidden energy, it had become extremely powerful. Moreover, the war god spear was a top-grade origin-grade divine weapon and possessed a powerful spirituality. It was more than enough to kill an injured first-level divine lord of the blood race. Swish! 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 Lu Ming hurriedly chased after the angel. The distance between the two of them was constantly closing. Too terrifying. Lu Ming is too terrifying. I must spread the news to the angel race, to the celestial race. The first-level divine lord of the angel race fled while using the illusory divine jade to spread the news. Heaven sundering style, kill. Lu Ming coldly roared as he transformed into a spear. At the same time, he erupted with origin energy. Originally, Lu Ming didn't need to use origin energy to deal with trash like this, but in order to kill this person as quickly as possible, he had no choice. Lu Ming couldn't allow the angel race to spread the news. Although he would take his family and friends with him, including those he was close with, he would take them with him. However, there were still some people who would stay behind. For example, the Lu family, Jingmo, Kong Shishue, and the others would stay behind. If the celestial race found out about this, they would definitely unleash their wrath and turn the Taishu dynasty into a purgatory. From the fate of the elf race, one could see that the celestial race would never show mercy to other races. The heaven-sundering style had the advantage of the greater extreme light art. His speed instantly increased, and he shot forward like an aurora, instantly catching up to the first-level divine lord of the angel race. Before the angel race could use the illusory divine jade to spread the news, Lu Ming's spear pierced through his body, and the terrifying energy reduced his body to ashes. With a wave of his hand, he put away the angel race's storage ring. Lu Ming took a step forward and returned to the Great Void Sacred Capital, where Blue Merchant and the others were waiting. Chapter 45-34. As soon as Lu Ming returned to Blue Merchant and the others, the Battle God Spear flew back with a storage ring. Apparently, the Battle God Spear had killed the Blood Tribe's Divine Master. With a thought, the Battle God Spear turned into a ray of light and flew into Lu Ming's glabella, disappearing from sight. At this moment, Jingmo, Kong Shishue, Blue Merchant, Undying Demon King, Thousand Holy Heavenly King, Yi Tian, and the others were completely dumbfounded. They stood there as if they had been petrified. Their eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. They thought they were dreaming. But this dream was too real, wasn't it? That terrifying aura, the aura that made the galaxy tremble, the aura that terrified them, it was too real. How could it be fake? How could it be a dream? Even if they were dreaming, they wouldn't dream of such a scene. That kind of power was beyond the limits of their imagination. But Lu Ming was too crazy, wasn't he? How could Lu Ming be so powerful? Monster and freak weren't enough to describe Lu Ming. Blue Merchant, Thousand Holy Heavenly King, are you ready? Let's go now. Lu Ming reminded them. Okay. Blue Merchant and the others finally snapped out of their daze. Lu. No, Hidden Dragon Heavenly King, I wonder if we can send more people to go with you. Kong Shishue said, looking nervously at Lu Ming. She seemed very reserved. Before she knew about Lu Ming's true combat strength, she could still get along with Lu Ming as an equal. After all, she was the mother of the new Great Void Saint Emperor, and Lu Ming was just a heavenly king. But now, when he faced Lu Ming, he could no longer maintain his composure. There was only fear and trepidation. She knew very well that given her status, she was nothing in front of Lu Ming. In the primitive universe, everything was based on the truth. With strength came status. With Lu Ming's cultivation and strength, it would be easy for him to create a force thousands of times stronger than the Taishu dynasty. Therefore, She was trembling with fear in front of Lu Ming. She was afraid that she would say something wrong and make Lu Ming unhappy. After saying that, she looked at Lu Ming nervously. Sure, as soon as possible, Lu Ming said. He wanted to return to the Heaven Destroyer's base as soon as possible. After all, when he first came out, he had sealed Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon. Now, Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon should have been unsealed long ago. What would they do after they were unsealed? Would the water directly rush into the elven territory? It was very dangerous there. Lu Ming couldn't help but worry. And here, it was too far away from the base of the universe ruins. The voice-transmitting jade talisman couldn't reach that far. Lu Ming couldn't even inquire about the news. Okay, let's do it as soon as possible. Kong Shishue nodded repeatedly and immediately left with Jingmo. In fact, after seeing Lu Ming's strength, even they themselves wanted to leave with Lu Ming. But after thinking about it, they still couldn't bear to leave the foundation here. In the end, they decided to send more people to cultivate with Lu Ming. Well, Lu Ming. No, Senior, I was wrong before. I was blind and offended you. Please forgive me. You are a great man and don't hold grudges against me. Haha, Immortal Demon also came over. He actually admitted that he was a junior and put his posture very low in front of Lu Ming. In the universe, strength was the most important thing. In terms of strength, it wasn't wrong for him to call Lu Ming a senior. Of course, this also needed to be thick-skinned. Those who weren't thick-skinned really couldn't say it out loud. It's okay, but you'd better not think too much in the future. Let me tell you, I won't treat you badly if you follow me, Lu Ming said lightly. Don't worry, young Master Ming. In the future, I will follow your lead and be at your beck and call. Immortal Demon swore. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Why didn't he realize that this old guy was so thick-skinned before? This, Blue Merchant and Heavenly King Qian Sheng hesitated on the side. After seeing Lu Ming's true strength, they also became a little cautious in front of Lu Ming. They were all smart people. After seeing Lu Ming's strength, they could guess that Lu Ming was probably the strongest existence in the universe. The gap between them was too big. Lan Shu, Heavenly King Qian Sheng, you have been very kind to me. You don't have to be so cautious. I am still the same person as before, Lu Ming said. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Blue Merchant and Heavenly King Qian Sheng heaved a sigh of relief. Otherwise, they wouldn't know how to face Lu Ming in the future. Immortal Demon was envious. If he had known that Lu Ming was so incredible, he would have clung to Lu Ming's leg when he saw Lu Ming back then. It's not too late now. I will definitely rely on this leg. I will break through to a higher level, the first Divine Emperor layer, the second Divine Emperor layer, and even the Divine Emperor layer, the undying Demon King roared in his heart and warned himself. Given that he had lived for dozens of stellar years, he would not be so agitated. However, Lu Ming was simply too powerful. He was unbelievably powerful. He was so powerful that he found it difficult to remain calm. They didn't have to wait for too long. Jingmo and Kong Shishue's people were ready. Let's go in. Lu Ming waved his hand and opened the ancient desolation ring. A huge vortex appeared in the heavenly palace. Blue Merchant, Heavenly King Qian Sheng and the others flew into the vortex. Needless to say, they were astonished when they entered the ancient desolation ring, but Lu Ming didn't care. Very quickly, everyone entered the ancient desolation ring. Everyone, see you later. Lu Ming cupped his fists to Kong Shishue and Jingmo. Then, he turned around and stepped out. The starry sky cracked automatically. He entered the space crack and disappeared. Only Jingmo and Kong Shishue were left behind. They were in a daze. Lu Ming hurried on with all his strength. At the same time, he used the Great Imitation technique to change his appearance and life origin chi. He turned into a young man from the Angel clan. If he hurried on with his original appearance, he would most likely alarm the people of the Heavenly Palace. After all, he still had to use the wormhole to hurry on. Even though his current speed was very fast, it was still not as fast as using the wormhole. In this way, Lu Ming spent about half a month to return to the Heaven Destroyer's base in the ruins of the universe. After returning to the Heaven Destroyer's base, he immediately rushed to their residence. At their residence, Lu Ming didn't see Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon. He only saw Wan Shen, Dandan, and Bubbles. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon really went to find him? Wan Shen, Dandan, Bubbles, Xiaoqing, and Autumn Moon, where did you go? Lu Ming quickly asked. They're fine. Lu Ming, it's great that you're fine. There are rumors in the Heavenly Palace that you're dead. Wan Shen said. That's right. So the people of the Heavenly Palace were bullshitting. I knew it. How could Lu Ming be dead? Do you think it's that easy to follow me? Dandan shouted. As for Bubbles, she hung on Lu Ming's body. Chapter 45-35. Big Brother Lu Ming, I'm so glad that you're fine. Bubbles hung onto Lu Ming's body, wiping her snot and tears on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming was stunned. Could it be that the Heavenly Palace announced to the public that he had already fallen? That was also possible. After all, when the ancestral land of the elves was destroyed, he rushed into the space crack. There was a high possibility that he would be turned into ashes under the destructive power of the crack. However, it might not be deliberately spread by the Heavenly Palace. After all, there were many people in the Heavenly Palace who saw him rushing into the crack. It was possible that some people made wild guesses and spread it. Of course I'll be fine. By the way, where are Xiaoqing and Autumn Moon? Lu Ming asked again. Back then, you sealed Miss Xie and Miss Autumn Moon and left alone. After the seal was removed, they were very angry and wanted to go to the elves to find you. We couldn't stop them. Fortunately, Senior Fei Huang came back at that time and stopped them. During this time, Miss Xie and Miss Autumn Moon have been at Senior Fei Huang's residence. Pantheon said. Then I'll go see them now. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, you have to be mentally prepared. I heard that they are still very angry. Dandan said. By the way, about the news of my death, do they know? Lu Ming asked. They don't know. We didn't dare to tell them. Dandan said. That's good. I have a way to deal with them. Let's go. Lu Ming smiled. Soon, they arrived at Fei Huang's residence and saw Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon. Lu Ming, young master. When they saw Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon were surprised. However, they soon thought of something, and their faces darkened. Haha, Xiaoqing, Mid-Autumn Moon, I'm back. I haven't seen you for a while. I really missed you. Lu Ming said shamelessly. You want to kill us? Lu Ming, in order to save your little fairy lover, you even sacrificed your own life and sealed us. Good, very good. Xian Yanqing sneered, his face cold. As for Autumn Moon, she pouted and looked at Lu Ming with hatred. Autumn Moon has been led astray by Xiaoqing. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Even the gentle and lovely Autumn Moon treated him like this. Lu Ming was very sad. Of course, this also proved that Autumn Moon was really angry. Haha, little Qing, what are you saying? After all, the elf race is implicated by me. I can't just ignore it. Lu Ming laughed, trying to bluff his way out. Mph, don't try to bluff your way out. Today, you have to give us an explanation. That's right. Young master, you have to give us an explanation. I didn't expect that you would attack us. Autumn Moon is really sad. The two girls didn't give in and pressed on. Wan Shen, Dandan, and Bubbles looked down and pretended not to see anything. Especially Dandan, who smiled from time to time. She looked like she was waiting to see how he would deal with it. Lu Ming, tell me, how do you want an explanation? Xian Yanqing stepped forward. Xiaoqing, Autumn Moon, look who I brought. Lu Ming finally used his trump card. That was the diversion of attention. He waved his hand, and a few people appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Yuntian, Li Ping, Lu Shenhuang, Lu Kai, and the others. Master, madam. Seeing Lu Yuntian and Li Ping, Autumn Moon was pleasantly surprised. Autumn Moon, my child, I finally meet you. Li Ping teared up when she saw Autumn Moon. Madam. Qiu Yu dashed into Li Ping's arms, tears streaming down her face. She had long forgotten about Lu Ming. Meanwhile, Xian Yanqing's attention was completely attracted by Lu Shenhuang and the others. Shenhuang. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Shenhuang, her eyes filled with longing and love. Mom. Lu Shenhuang hurried over. Mom. Lu Shenhuang's wife also went over and called out. Grandma, long time no see. I miss you so much. Lu Kai dashed over and grabbed Xian Yanqing's arm, refusing to let go. Kai, I haven't seen you for a while. Your cultivation has almost caught up to your father. Xian Yanqing's cold face had already melted into a smile. He patted Lu Kai's head affectionately. As for Lu Ming's matter, he had already put it aside. Wan Shin, Dandan, and Bubbles were dumbfounded. How did this work? Lu Ming, you're awesome. Wan Shin gave him a thumbs up. Lu Ming, you're despicable and shameless. Bah, you're smart and powerful. You already have some of my style. Dandan whispered to Lu Ming. The reunion of family was joyous and there seemed to be endless topics to talk about. Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon temporarily forgot about Lu Ming. The unhappiness in their hearts also disappeared. After quite a while, Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon finally remembered Lu Ming. They both glared at him and let it pass. Half a day later, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Qiu Yu, Dandan, Bubbles, and the rest led Lu Yuntian and Li Ping to an open space. There were no living beings living in this place. The conditions for cultivation were also excellent. Heaven Destroyer's base was made up of continents. The foundation of these continents was actually the Primeval continent. After being modified by reciprocity experts, the cultivation environment here was extremely good. There were also various places for training. Even if it couldn't compare to the Primeval ring, it wasn't bad either. It was 100 times better than the Taishu dynasty. Lu Ming planned to put the people of the Taishu dynasty, the Lu family, Hua Kai, and the others here. He didn't plan to let them stay in the Primeval ring forever. Although the cultivation environment in the Primeval ring was definitely the best for those below the Divine Lord realm, it was much better than here. However, Lu Ming would always carry the Primeval ring with him. He would go out adventuring and traveling. Moreover, the heavenly human race would always be watching him. He might run into danger at any time. What if he was captured by the heavenly human race like last time? His family and friends would be in great danger if they followed him. Only when his cultivation was high enough and he no longer feared any danger would he put his family and friends in the Primeval ring. He naturally wouldn't give a treasure like the Primeval ring to others. He had to carry it with him at all times. Of course, this was also because his past and future selves weren't present. If they were, one of them could carry the Primeval ring and stay in the Heaven Destroyer's base. That wouldn't be bad. But now, this was all he could do. With a wave of his hand, a huge vortex appeared in the air. Lu Ming's consciousness appeared in the Primeval ring and communicated with everyone. After a while, a large number of people flew out. They were the Undying Demon King, Blue Merchant, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, and the people of the Lu family. After they came out, they were reluctant to leave. Cultivating in the Primeval ring was just too good. In such a short time, some of them even broke through. However, Lu Ming had explained it before, so they could only come out. Moreover, the cultivation conditions here weren't bad either. Immediately, everyone began to make arrangements in an orderly manner. Peak. Chapter 45-36. After seeing that the Taishu dynasty, the Lu family, Hua Kai, and the others had arranged everything in an orderly manner, Lu Ming left the place alone and went to ask Fei Huang for a treasure. Then, he came to another place with no one around. The Heaven Destroyer's base was made up of dozens of continents. Moreover, the area of each continent was extremely large. Some large continents were far larger than those planets with life. They could accommodate countless living beings. Moreover, there was more than one Heaven Destroyer's base. It was said that there were several other bases of Heaven Destroyer in the depths of the universe ruins. It was just that Lu Ming had never been there before. Therefore, the Heaven Destroyer's base could be considered vast and sparsely populated. It was simply too easy to accommodate the creatures that Lu Ming had brought with him. Moreover, there was a reason why Lu Ming chose this place. This was because Fei Huang and the other experts had gone to rescue the elves and rescued a portion of them. Those elves lived in this area. Lu Ming stood in the sky and looked into the distance. He could see a dense forest in front of him. There were some wooden houses built in the forest, and from time to time, figures would flash by. With Lu Ming's eyesight, he could naturally see clearly that those were all elves. Of course, this forest couldn't be compared to the elf palace. The difference was too great. The elf palace had countless incomparably huge elven ancient trees. Those ancient trees were thousands or even tens of thousands of miles tall. They covered the sky and produced endless wood essence. They would also produce a large number of elven wood hearts, which were very helpful to the cultivation of the elves. However, the forest in front of him was just an ordinary tree. It was worlds apart from the elven ancient trees. After Lu Ming communicated with Ling Yue with his spiritual sense, he opened the door of the great desolate ring and a huge vortex appeared in the air. Ling Yue was the first to fly out. Soon after, the other elves also flew out. There weren't many of them. Some of them were the people that had been saved on that island, while the others were the elven geniuses in the elven ancestral land. When these elves came out and saw Lu Ming, they all glared at him angrily. Lu Ming was expressionless and pretended not to see it. Yue, our clansmen live in the forest ahead. In the future, we shall live in this region. Lu Ming said. Yes. Ling Yue nodded. At this moment, the other elves also discovered the forest and immediately revealed expressions of joy. Now, the elf race was almost completely annihilated. They originally thought that they might be the only ones who survived. Now that they saw other elves, they were naturally ecstatic. They immediately flew towards the forest. When they approached the forest, they were immediately discovered by the elves in the forest. The elves in the forest immediately flew out. Immediately, numerous figures appeared in the sky above the forest. About 50 million people. Lu Ming thought. His spirit sense swept out and enveloped the entire forest, roughly estimating the number of elves living in the forest. 50 million people might seem like a lot, but it was actually very little. One had to know that in the past, the elf race had occupied a large number of star regions. The elf race had thrived for countless years, giving birth to countless members of their race. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as trillions. 50 million people, compared to the past, was really a drop in the ocean. Moreover, many of these 50 million elves had ordinary knowledge. Their cultivation was very low, and they couldn't even fly in the air. Only about 1 million could fly in the sky above the forest. Compared to the previous base of the elf race, it was really too little. Moreover, Lu Ming didn't find a single divine master. The strongest was only at the 9th level of the divine god realm. It seemed that the divine master of the elf race was targeted by the heavenly palace at the first moment and sent experts to hunt them down. Therefore, none of them escaped. When Fei Huang and the others received the news and rushed over, it was already too late. The experts of the elf race were either killed or captured. Not only were the elites killed, but even the ordinary elves were also killed. As for the rest, most of them were captured by the heavenly palace as slaves. Therefore, even with Fei Huang and the others' abilities, they could only bring out 50 million elves. Princess, it's the princess. The princess is fine. That's great, that's great. The heavens have blessed us. In the sky above the forest, the elves were overjoyed when they saw Ling Yue. They quickly flew over and bowed to Ling Yue. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite, there's no need to be so polite. Ling Yue hurriedly said. Princess, I heard that the elf ancestral land was surrounded and a great battle broke out behind it. The elf ancestral land collapsed. How did we escape? Someone asked. We've heard about the elf ancestral land. What happened after the great battle in the elf ancestral land? Ling Yue was not in a hurry to answer. I heard that the evil spirit lord of the ancestral land has appeared and fought with the people of the heavenly palace. The battle destroyed the heavens and the earth, and even the ancestral land was destroyed. Later on, more experts from the Heavenly Palace came, and I heard that they suppressed the evil spirit lord. This person used to be an elder of the elf race and had a cultivation of the 9th level of the Divine Lord realm. Before Ling Yuwei came, he had the highest status in the elf race. The reason why we were able to escape was all thanks to Lu Ming risking his life to save us. At this time, Ling Yuwei pointed at Lu Ming and said, "What? Lu Ming? It's him, it's Lu Ming. It's all his fault. It's all because of him that the Heavenly Palace attacked us elves. It's all his fault." Many of the elves roared as they stared at Lu Ming hatefully. Everyone, back then, Lu Ming changed his name to Mu Yun unintentionally. He also felt very guilty, and if he hadn't risked his life to save us, we would have died at the hands of the elves. Ling Yuwei hurriedly explained. The knot in her heart towards Lu Ming had already been untied. Her heart was naturally on Lu Ming's side, and she wanted to resolve the grudge between Lu Ming and the elves. "Princess, don't be fooled by him. That's right. If it wasn't for him, how could our clan be like this? How could His Majesty have died in battle?" The elves naturally wouldn't forgive Lu Ming so easily. They were still glaring at Lu Ming. Sigh. Ling Yuwei sighed in her heart. Then, with a thought, a jade bottle appeared in her hand. Opening the jade bottle, an incomparably exuberant life essence spread out, attracting the attention of every elf. All the elves looked at the jade bottle, revealing looks of doubt and shock. This aura. Why does it look so much like the holy tree seed? Really, I feel like it too. However, that holy tree seed was successfully nurtured by us and turned into the elven holy tree. Later on, it was cut off by the celestial race. How could another holy tree seed appear here? A few Divine Lord Realm elves discussed animatedly. They were all in the Divine Lord Realm and could be considered the upper echelons of the elf clan. Naturally, they knew a lot of things. The holy tree seed that Lu Ming had brought out had been successfully nurtured and turned into the elven holy tree. Although it hadn't grown into a big tree yet, it was only a matter of time. However, when the Heavenly Palace attacked, it was cut off. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.